trying to block the sun out over here, but it's going to be a bit bright. I'm not complaining. We watched it come up this morning, didn't we?
Oh my God, it was beautiful. It's so gorgeous. Okay. So we both look like ghosts. You won't see us very well until we get over this. I want to turn this around so they can see it.
So they can see what? Oh, can they do it?
So
Look
this is
where we are.
so this is where we are, and as you can see, the sun is shining way over to the right. So it is kind of making us both look ghost-esque, but we'll do the best that we can for you guys. Welcome.
So excited.
Welcome. We've been so trying to get this figured out, and we're good. We're over our technical difficulties.
Yeah.
And we're ready.
You did all this. I'm just driving, but just so you guys know, the driving is probably just as rough as the technical stuff today.
Yes.
Because we've been going around some mountains.
Listen, let me tell y'all. Mountains are beautiful. They are great, and they're beautiful, and they're wonderful. They are not meant to ride on in any kind of a vehicle. I felt like we were gonna die. So I've been white knuckle riding over here, and not because Kat's a bad driver, just because I'm a bit of a chicken. Can you guys hear us okay?
Seat.
We're in a new car,
a
different car, so
There's
just want to make sure. Yeah, but it's not hooked to that.
Gotcha, okay.
Because we don't have it plugged in.
Okay.
So just give us some thumbs up if you can hear us, so that we can know we're good to go. Somebody's laughing, so I assume that you can hear us.
Okay, good.
So,
I'm driving a stick for the first time. Well, I've had one on and off. I learned to drive on a stick when I first started. So, a manual. It's fun.
So as you can see, we said that there would be a special location. We're in a special location. We are actually, hold on, let me get the map back up here. We are in a special location. We are in Colorado. We have been what feels like all over Colorado, but specifically, where are we?
We're in the Denver area.
It's beautiful here.
We stayed around Idaho Springs last night. So we were way out remote. We got an amazing Airbnb out there that we're loving.
It's haunted, but it's beautiful.
Don't say that. We've got them watching, maybe. It's not haunted.
Well, maybe it's not haunted, but
we just have to figure out how to make sure the door stays closed all the time.
Yeah, because I woke up at 1 in the morning and the door was standing like wide open, and it's, oh my God. But
so we didn't introduce ourselves.
Oh yeah, we didn't.
Because I said I want to introduce Brenda, who is my traveling partner. I bring her along to these, well, it's really super sunny, on these trips where we go out in the middle of nowhere, because in the scary movies, the black girl always dies first.
Listen, I woke up at 1:30 in the morning, and I was sleeping out on a futon in the living room of the Airbnb, and the door was wide open. Y'all, I checked this door to make sure it was actually latched.
But it's a great place.
It's beautiful.
We just didn't, we have to
We had to have not done something.
We have to lock it.
It was standing wide open, and we are like really in the middle of nowhere. It's a beautiful, very remote location. So yeah, that's what happened. That's why Kat brings me. So this is Kat, my death setter upper. She sets me up for death in dangerous positions. I want to be able to read you guys' comments, and we're working on that. I will not be able to read them as much as I want to, because we have the map here on the screen, and whenever I go to Facebook, we miss.
So maybe we should tell them why we're here.
Okay, let's go.
So go ahead.
You want to start? So first, we are in Denver because one of the SYLC certified coaches, Diana Valenciano, she is having an amazing, she's speaking at an amazing conference today, the Moms Who Rise conference. So we are out here.
Look, Indiana Street. Sorry.
We are out here in support of her, because we're kind of in solidarity for our sister, just to be here to be able to support her. But also, you want to give the second reason?
Well, there's going to be a third, because I'm going to add something else because of what we're doing tomorrow.
Okay.
So this summer, some of you guys know that, I am like really ghosty. This summer, my son and I attempted to climb.
You did climb.
We did. We went 3/4 of the way. It's the Manitou Springs Incline. I can't remember now how many steps it is, but it's a lot.
2,470 something steps. Somewhere
counting?
About there.
So it's up the side of a mountain. It's Pikes Peak, where Pikes Peak used to have the rail car, and there was a mudslide, so the rails are gone, but the steps remain. So people go up and down those steps. It's I keep telling these guys, because Stiana's gonna do it with us. I keep telling them it's
She said
like
it's
labor.
Like labor.
It's hard, but it's worth it.
Labor is hard, but worth it.
Yeah.
Not during the kids' teenage years.
Well, you know, that might be true.
So, because we are in a special location for a special reason, we wanted to bring you a special episode of The Drive. So,
And it's episode 10.
it is.
Yay.
Oh, how cool is that? So, we're on episode 10, and we put out a poll question, and we asked if people were more interested in talking about goal getting or goal setting, trusting your intuition, or embracing the journey. Surprisingly enough, our audience is so diverse. Almost everything got the same number of votes across the board.
In different locations. 'Cause
Right,
there was
it's
one that
different.
we couldn't do 3. We could only do 2. And the other place that we did all 3, that one got almost all the votes. So
It did. So we had like 6 for one, 6 for the other, and
Yeah.
then 4 for the one. So it kind of added out. So it seems like everybody pretty much wants to talk about all of them. Since we have time and we're driving to this conference, we figured we'd just stay on for a little bit longer today and maybe address all 3 as it pertains to this particular trip. And just overall, we figured it would be something that'd be helpful.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, and they kind of lend themselves. I didn't realize when we first put it out there. Oh, it's just so pretty through here, like the skyline. You can see the mountains in the distance, and it's kind of not flat.
Y'all rather
through here,
look at the drive than to
Right.
look at us.
Right? And that I keep like catching glimpses. Am I supposed to do something right here?
No.
Soon, I'm supposed to go left. I have to really concentrate on left from right. So left. So yeah, they all kind of lended themselves to each other if we laid it out in a certain way. So we did that.
Right. We are ready to get started. So first up, I'm kind of gonna let you go into the
So the goal getting, one of so the same that we did with all the others. Hold on, I gotta turn here.
Kat has to focus on driving. But
Yeah.
what we're going to do is for each of these topics, we're still going to give you 3 tangible takeaways. We'll just go over 3 topics today instead of 1. So today, as it pertains to goal getting, goal setting, whatever makes you feel good.
Goal getting.
Goal getting?
Yeah, I'm all about goal getting.
Goal getting, because we figure goal getting probably requires a little bit more action, and it indicates that there's action.
Right, because anybody can set a goal, but this is all about how do you get the goal.
Oh yeah.
So
that's good.
So the first one is to actually set it and write it down. So just
Right.
come up with what that goal is. And we're going to use part of why we're here in
Right.
Denver as an example of how we have some goal getting that we're doing, and how really all 3 steps are pertinent in this. So we have a goal of SYLC Consulting being in 25 cities in by 2025. Could happen before then. Could.
It
But
likely will.
we'll see. But we've set that goal, we've written it down. So that's the first step. And along with that, you can have some accountability. This would probably be like, a 0.2 step or 0.3. You can have some accountability, like bring an accountability partner in if you're the only one with a goal that is. But know what's helpful for you. Like for us, we talked about this, but this is one that we did talk about. Do we put this out there? Because sometimes you have goals that you don't necessarily want to broadcast to the world for whatever reason,
Right.
and you don't owe anybody an explanation for that. We just have to know some people are motivated by telling someone else their goal, like in a public forum.
Right.
But almost all of us have something in us that is we're a little more. What happened to the map?
Oh, I took it down. Do you need
Oh, okay. I just want to make sure I'm going the right. Like I'm going to be in
I
here.
want to go check comments. You go ahead.
Because that's interlocking. Am I good? For how long? 1 mile, and then just keep going. What am I supposed to do? Something else?
Is this? Hang on, y'all. Please hold. No. Oh no, you're straight. Okay. No, you're good.
All
Sorry.
right.
I don't know. I'm gonna come check comments in a minute, guys. Don't think we're ignoring you.
So yeah, the goal. So we wanted to put that one out there, but almost everyone benefits from having at least one other person that they've told it to, that can hold them accountable, make sure that it's not somebody who will just be like, oh, let you off the hook too easy.
Right.
So I do a lot with engineered accountability and things like that, where I have a group that I will say, this is what I'm doing today, and then come back in to say that it's gotten done and all that kind of good stuff. So,
and that's helpful, and you have to know if that's a driver for you, and also being careful to ensure that when you do decide this is my accountability partner, that you both have some skin in the game. Maybe they have something that they need to be accountable for as well, because that's going to increase the likelihood that you guys are actually making sure that the other person is getting done what you're supposed to be holding them accountable for.
Yeah. So that was kind of a subset of the first one,
right,
which is set the goal, write it down. And it's important to write it down. And I have some goals on the inside of my mirror in the bathroom. So when I open it up, I see those things in there, and I think it's on those sticky notes. So writing it down and then breaking it down. So what does it take? For us, this is one of the cities that we want to be in. We know for various reasons. One, we're going to talk about listening to your intuition. So intuition is something that has helped lead me to the fact that I really believe that Denver is one of the cities that we are supposed to be going to.
Right.
But breaking it down. So what does that mean? Well, it means we have to visit it a few times. It means we have to know people out here and all of those things. So setting some goals, breaking it down. I like to break down. Everybody does goals differently, and I think you have to find what works for you. And kind of like other things, if it works now, it may not work tomorrow. Like being flexible with it.
Right.
She seemed very excited about that, didn't she?
She did.
Continue straight.
That's because
awesome.
it wasn't Wilma Ways. She doesn't get excited about anything.
So, it was about being flexible, knowing. Oh, for me, I like to break it down into my first 3 steps. That's how I usually will break a goal down, whatever it is. The big ones and the little ones. And then sometimes those steps I gotta break down even further. How about you? How do you?
I think for me, I kind of write down start to finish everything, because I get motivated by the crossing off of certain items. So I'll write down everything that it takes to get to my goal from start to finish, even as simple as writing it down. What do I have to do next? And I feel super accomplished as I'm marking those things off. I'm marking more things off. And I also have a date at the end, usually, that this is the date that it should be completed by, and making sure that each step along the way is aligned with that final date that I have set. And like we always talk about, understanding that might not happen and figuring out what to do from there, but we'll talk about that a little bit more later.
Yeah, I love that you do it differently, because for me, if I were to do start to finish, not always, but many times, if I were to do start to finish, I would get overwhelmed by however many steps there are. Really? And feel like I can't, and then it would throw the baby out with the bathwater and just not start. You know what I mean? So I think that's cool that we have different ways
of doing it.
And there are reasons. So I think really knowing yourself and not trying to change it. Like if it's not what motivates you, then it's not what motivates you. Don't
and if it's not motivating you, then what the heck are you doing it for?
Right.
If it doesn't motivate you, it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
So and in some way, shape, form, or fashion, finding that natural form of motivation that you need to keep it moving.
Yeah.
So number 2 was to break down the goal.
And then the third one is review, revise, and what is it? What was the last one? Renew, yeah. So review is to come back, and say, is this goal right? Like, ours is a pretty audacious goal. I used that word last night and felt really good about it. So it's a pretty audacious goal, and we know that. So we will revisit. Look, there's pumpkins out in the thing. The pumpkin patch.
Pumpkin patch.
So you can revise it. I think that's one of the things we feel like we're married to it once we've set a goal, and then you feel like a failure if you don't reach it. Well, what if it's, again, it's kind of what we talked about last week, beyond a gentle or a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. Like, did I set it a little too high? I mean, I think it should be uncomfortable.
It should definitely. It should be an uncomfortable one. But like you said, like, if you're constantly reviewing and kind of revising, reanalyzing, then part of that revision might be extending that date, and that's okay.
Right.
Because the goal is
the number.
Or the number. Ooh, okay, I see you. But that is also good as well, just making sure that you are perfectly comfortable with if you have to review this goal, if you have to revise the goal, and if you have to renew it because you realize that it's not either what you ultimately want to do or you want to do it in a different way. So just being mindful of that, and like you staying uncomfortable, because it's always going to be uncomfortable to start. I think that's okay.
I think if you know, if at least for me, when I know that I'm where I'm supposed to be when I'm slightly uncomfortable. I'm growing.
Right.
Because there is no growth in your comfort zone.
Right.
There's truth to that.
Absolutely.
All right. Should we check out the comments before we pass on, or before we go on to kind of recap that for the goal getting? It's setting it, writing it down is the first step. The second step is to break it down, whatever that means for you. Like you just got 2 examples.
Right.
You may have another one. So if you have another one that you use, that could be awesome.
Oh, I can't mute this. I don't think they can hear it.
Yeah, I can hear it, but I don't know how. Oh, over here I can do this.
I don't know. I'm going to pause this.
I can turn it down. I turned it down.
Okay, thank you. So let's take a look at the comments.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to do number 3, which is,
sorry.
number 3 is the review, revise, and renew.
Which is really 3 steps, but it's okay. They all work the same kind of one, and it sounds really good, doesn't it?
It does, and you know what? Write it down, put it somewhere. Anyway, and then the bonus part of that is to find an accountability partner and make that work for you, whatever that looks like.
Charles said it's super bright in here. We should try to put the visors down.
I did.
They aren't working. They're just because it's so, we're like in a Jeep kind of, and they're so far like in front of us that they just don't make a difference. And we're both pretty short, so
yeah. It's
like we put the visors and it covers up to here, and then from here down.
Or when it does finally work, then we have to, you can't see the road, so yeah.
Scott said so many jokes. He's laughing at us. Sasha said, "Hey ladies." Hey Sasha. Charles said, "I feel really." What?
I'm on a toll thing.
What? Yeah. And it still says you're going the right way.
But I should have gotten the little thing out of my car to do the Easy Pass. What, do I have to pay something? How does this work?
No. It says go pass. I don't know what this means.
I don't have a go pass.
In 2.5 miles, take exit 47 toward Fort Collins and I-25.
I don't know.
Usually, like when I'm in my car and I go under one of these, it
takes a picture.
It takes a picture. So I guess I'm gonna have to ask the guy that we're renting this from. Like, I don't want him to have to pay a toll.
Right. Yeah, you can ask him.
Because it took a picture when my Easy Pass wasn't working. It took a picture and sent me a thing for $1. I had to write a check for $1, and if I didn't send it in, it was going to cost me $15.
What?
And I almost didn't want to send it in because I didn't want to send $1 in, but I did. I paid for it.
Charles said, "I feel really accomplished when I can cross off my goals after I complete them." Yeah, I find real pleasure in that, because I mean, especially if I break it down into what other people may feel like ridiculous steps but are super helpful for me. I love just being able to cross it off, like, okay, that's done.
Sometimes I write things down just to cross them off.
Right, because it feels good. You know, okay, I got that done. So, moving on, topic number 2, we said we were going to talk about intuition, starting out like as it pertains to our goal. We'll be using, like Kat said, we'll be using our being here as an example of most of what we're talking about today.
So I do want to mention we've got a friend who does a lot with helping people develop their intuition. I can introduce you, but Robin Marie does a great job with like helping with that. So this is kind of a broader overview of that.
Right.
But I'll let you kind of lead this one because I'm gonna.
So starting off with intuition, like we said, we'll give you 3 tangible takeaways about this one too, just like we did the goal getting. Intuition is difficult. Intuition can be difficult. I'm gonna fix that. It's not difficult, but it can be, especially because for me, we talked first about what intuition means to us. And we talked about how for us, it's God letting us know what we need to do or what we don't need to do. But making sure that you have a relationship with whatever higher power that you believe in so that you can be certain about your intuition, for me, is sometimes the roughest part of exercising it.
Yeah.
So I'm actually glad to have these steps that we wrote out.
So I need to interrupt this broadcast to make sure I'm going in the right direction. What am I doing
Exit
here?
47. I can't see. Is that this?
Is that what this is?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry for that downtime there. Just gonna
And then
Make
we'll go left at this
sure-
fork.
left at this fork. Okay.
I think we're good.
Well, that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
25 north. All right. So, yeah. So for me, it's definitely, and I get a little. I don't want. It's not uncomfortable. It's not. Oh yeah. 30 miles.
Yeah, 30 miles.
Woo-hoo!
Dope.
All right. So, oh, this bridge is crazy. So for me, like it's been developing my relationship with, like we talked about, higher power, with God, higher self. Like I kind of don't care what somebody calls it. It's that something out. Really, what it is, it's outside of our ego. We talked a lot about that last night on the little thing that we.
Yeah, we did.
So like ego and like knowing that it's not driven by self is what I know is my intuition. Now for me, that's conversations with God, but I also hear other people talking and I'm like, we're kind of saying, not kind of, we are saying
We're
the same
saying
thing.
the same thing, right?
We're just calling it by a different name. So when I hear people talk about higher self, I think that's the same. To me, that's the exact same thing.
Right.
And I can relate to both of them.
And I thought it was important that even before we go into intuition, that we let y'all know when we talk about intuition, this is what we're talking about. So if intuition means something different to you, then again, having that definition of exactly what it is that we're talking about will help when we give you these 3 points that will help you be able to tap into your intuition and things that you can do to make sure that you're following it.
And I'm just thinking about how kind of with everything, like we're gonna tell, like we're not real big on like advice as much as we are find your way, like find what works for you, because it's gonna be different for every other person. So,
Right. I
anyway.
agree. So to start off with following your intuition, we were talking about this last night, and the first step is to pay attention to the first feeling. How many times has something happened in your life and you're like, oh my God, my grandma used to say, I should have followed my first mind.
Oh, did she say that?
She said that all the time. I should have followed my first mind. So it's that thought that you have initially, and not even, we say pay attention to it and not to follow it, because there is an impulsiveness that can be attached to doing the first thing that comes to mind. So we're saying pay attention of it, make note of it. I have started making note of the feelings that I have when I have that first thought, exactly how I feel about it, so that then I can go back and follow the next.
And I think for the people who know steer, this is where you can go, okay, what am I, because sometimes I know what I'm feeling and I don't know what I'm thinking. Sometimes I know what I'm thinking and I don't know what I'm feeling.
Right.
So that's where you can interrupt the model at any time, and it's where you are in the model. Like sometimes the emotions are so raw, yeah, that it's hard to know what you're thinking. But that's when you break it down, slow it down, and go, okay, what is that feeling? But yeah, knowing that gut reaction, I remember a quote, I loved it. It said, it just said, I told you so, intuition.
Oh, yes. I'm telling you, this first step is the most difficult for me, not because I question God, but because I question myself. Like, I want to make sure this thought, this action that I'm supposed to make, is this God or is this me? And that's the separation that I have to make in this moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So step 2 is to acknowledge the intuition and use it as a guide. So acknowledge the feelings that you're having, and to use those feelings that you're having to guide you. Of course, using your thoughts to make sure you've properly analyzed your emotions, and then using that as a guide to move forward.
Yeah. So that's kind of what you were saying, like like the gut feeling. Have you ever heard the thing, like, if you can't make a decision, flip a coin?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, like, then if I'm like, well, I'm going to do it or I'm not going to do it, I can't decide. So I flip a coin, I'm like, I'm going to do it. Heads, I'm going to do it. And then if your gut goes, like, no, I don't want to do it, then
Right.
you might know. And here's the other thing, just make a decision. It's sometimes, and that's terrible. I don't like
Not
the word
just make
yeah.
right. Not just make a decision.
But make a decision knowing that we have no way of knowing if it's right or wrong.
Right.
You have to follow one for a while, and then kind of back to the goals.
Review, revise, renew.
And it's so yeah. See how these all kind of tie together?
They do. They all tie in together. If you really just, I mean, and in my opinion, for the best results, I need one for the next, and then for the next. I need to set my goals and be determined to get my goals, to be able to touch into my intuition, and then embrace the journey, which is what we're going to get into after we finish our third point. I put up 2 fingers. It was like our third one. Our third point is I can't read that.
I'm sorry.
Reconnect
this is my handwriting, and I sometimes
connect to mind, body, and spirit, and meditate. I'll let you elaborate on that. I'll tell you what I get from it.
Okay. So for me, this is the most important step of the intuition, which is that whole, I would say, getting quiet is typically what I do, and that can mean a lot of different things. That can be sitting in meditation. It can mean, going for a walk. It can mean taking a nap even, and then waking up with some clarity. So, again, different things for different people, but connecting mind, body, and spirit. So for me, it's understanding, I have my, what do they call it? Like the monkey brain or whatever,
primitive brain?
Yes, thank you. So the primitive brain, it's monkey mind. I'm thinking
monkey
of it
mind.
in meditation. But anyway, so the primitive brain that I want to get in touch with, that's when I get into steer, where I am paying attention to the thoughts and that I'm having all of that. So connecting the mind, the body, that's where I'm breathing, I'm staying present, I'm paying attention to what I'm feeling in my body, like literally the feelings that create vibrations in different places. Like, what does that do? I mean, I can get really deep. I won't go into it as much, but I can, like, for me, if it's something with communication, my throat feels funny.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then spirit, that's where I'm connecting with God, my higher self, again, whatever it is that you want to call it, but that's where prayer comes in. For me, prayer and meditation are, those are very different things, but they can look similar. So prayer is where I'm asking, so it's more me talking, and then meditation is more me listening.
Right,
and waiting for that
what it is
guidance.
that he has to say. And accepting and understanding exactly what that is. Now I'm kind of peeping what you were doing to me the other day. I had something like going on in my own personal life that is great, and I'm having this whole like too good to be true. So you kind of took me through a mind, body, spirit exercise. Like, what does your mind say? What does your body say? What does the spirit say? And we kind of went through that, which helped me come to a place to where it's like, you know what? Just gonna kind of ride the wave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ride the wave, enjoy whatever it's supposed to be, while still understanding that there could be other aspects that I'm not aware of that are playing, but following my intuition, and that ultimately put me in a better place to be able to be like, you know what? I'm good.
And you know what gets quiet in that time is yourself.
Yes.
Because your mind will talk you out of success. Your mind will talk you out of enjoying the current situation. What is that? That Brenda Brown talks about, the foreboding joy.
Right.
Like, oh, this is too good to be true. The other shoe's gonna drop. She talks about people looking in at their baby and being like, I hope nothing ever happens to them. Like, instead of staying right there with how amazing that is.
Yes.
And our mind does it again all the time. Our mind is doing it to protect us.
Right.
Every time.
So keeping that in mind is always helpful for me as well, because a lot of the time it helps me to go back, and usually there's an issue that is creating that foreboding joy for me from the past, and it kind of shows
hey,
me
remember what happened.
Right, but it goes, you might want to deal with that.
Oh,
that's causing you some issues right now today. You might want to deal with that emotionally. So then that allows me to kind of dig deeper into whatever that issue is, and once that's corrected, that automatically helps me feel better about whatever is going on now.
So that's a good point. Like on the second one, if we're acknowledging and using it as a guide, it could be that it's a guide to heal. I need to heal that part.
Absolutely.
That's really good. I like that a lot.
Scott said, get to watch a toll arrest live when we were talking about the tolls. Then he said, I have to be linear in all things. list step by step before proceeding to the next activity. And Scott said law of attraction. So I'm thinking Scott's probably was talking about the end of the goal getting. But yeah, that's how I am, Scott. I can't really, I don't bounce really well. I like to A, B, C, D. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm very linear in that way too. Charles said law of attraction, and you're absolutely right as it pertains to intuition. Being careful and knowing that you have to clear out that negativity, because otherwise you're asking for it. You're gonna get that negativity brought back on self, and you don't want to do that. So being careful that you're always being mindful of that.
Yeah.
Realistic and optimistic at the same time.
Yeah. And I think that being mindful, like, broken down into, because sometimes I feel like some of these words they get kind of cliche, they get overused. Being mindful is paying attention. Paying attention to what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, what's happening with it, and being flexible then with it as well.
That's true. So that wraps up number 2 was intuition. The 3 steps to following your intuition is 1, pay attention to your very first feeling. 2, acknowledge that feeling and use it as a guide to move forward. And then connect mind, body, and spirit. That one's good. Oh yeah.
Love it.
So,
Oh, look, Firestone Boulevard. I love when it's like stuff from back home.
do you?
Oh yeah, I get all excited. Like the Indiana Boulevard back there. It's like, oh look,
It says
where I'm from,
Indiana.
so, yeah.
I think I've seen like an Akron Avenue and gotten excited. Like, oh, they even want Akron Avenue. So ridiculous.
And we were going down Merriman Road that was in Detroit.
That was okay. So, last but not least, embracing the journey. Now, this is where I think a lot of people get tripped up, because I've heard people say, then what's the point of all this other stuff if at the end of the day I just have to accept whatever is going to happen?
Yeah. If I didn't reach my goal, then I wasted all my time.
Right. And understanding, knowing fully that is not the case. Again, we talk about reviewing, revising, and renewing. It's all with the understanding that you have to be flexible at the end of the day. So when it comes to embracing the journey, the first one that we want to talk about is reviewing the mirror. And I can't read that.
What is that called?
Oh, the rear view mirror.
Rear view. Yeah, and I put
I'm like review mirror. Look at it and gotta review it, because that's what Kat put here as number 1.
Oh, so what does that say? I can't look. Oh, look at how much you've done already.
Oh, okay. So I'll let you go on.
All right. So embracing the journey, I think that's part of it. Is at least people that I've worked with and myself have a tendency to discredit or forget like all they've done. Like especially, what I think of a lot is, it's been many years ago now, but when I went through the divorce, it was so hard. And when I was in the middle of it, it felt like I would never get out of it. It was such an emotionally taxing thing. And when I look back, when I did finally come out on the other end and was in a good place with it, I literally felt like, bring it on, I can handle anything.
I know that's right.
If I can get through that, I can get through anything. And that helps me to go back and go, yeah, look where I was. I was like a puddle of nothing, like couldn't function for a while.
Felt like a puddle of nothing.
I did. Yeah, you're right. I need to be careful. You're right. So yeah, I felt like that, and I came out on the other side better than I ever would have been had I not gone through that.
Right. I think that's the key. And it's all about perception and our choices. I think at the end of the day, I have really close relationships with people who refuse to see the good in anything. If all you do is dwell on the negative aspects of what you've done. And I remember I wanted to clean my house or something, and I was talking to you, and I was like, and I still didn't get to like clean out the kitchen drawers or something. And you were like, okay, well, what did you do? And I'm like, oh, I cleaned the bathroom and I washed the house and I did this and I did that. I'm like, but I still didn't get to. You were like, did you just hear everything that you did do? Like, you're not a failure because you didn't do that one thing. And I also think that people get it confused, like when we talk about looking in the rear view mirror, because we are always quoting Lao Tzu when we say that depression is being stuck in the
past. Yeah.
Anxiety is being stuck in the present or in the future. So I think that I always want to clarify that when we talk about glancing into the rearview mirror, it's just like with driving. You have to glance into the rearview mirror every now and then, but if you try to drive forward and you're constantly focused on the rearview mirror and haven't even looked ahead, then that's when you have a problem. That's when you risk a car accident.
So that's so good.
I just put that together, girl.
Hey, that is so good. Yeah, I wasn't even like, you're right though, because I can't, if I focus on that and the rear view mirror is way smaller.
Right.
Oh, I love that
it's like,
so much.
So you have to, so it's okay to glance back. It's even helpful to glance back because it's looking back that will let you know what you've done thus far. And it feels really good to, like, think about when you've gone walking or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, gee, I still got so much longer to go. But you look back and you're like, dang, I came really just walked a real long ways.
Well, and I think you have to be intentional about what you're looking for as well. So in this, you know, I'm intentionally looking for successes. And I had that exercise in a coaching class that I was a participant in where they would ask us to keep a success journal and write down every success you had and then continue to add to it. And it does, when you start doing that, you realize, at least I realized when I started doing that, how little I paid attention to my successes. And I highly recommend a success journal for people who have a hard time with that. I'm in a better place now with it, so I'm able to recall them pretty readily.
Right.
But I also have to remind myself sometimes, whoa, Kat, look where you're going. So, I mean, our neural pathways are set up to keep us out of danger. So it'll say, you know, again, that's our brain saying, hey, hold up, you know, this could be bad. Some bumps there. We're on the highway. It's good. It's all good. All right. That was good.
That was really good. Number 2, when it comes to embracing the journey, remembering that every moment is teachable. Honey, that's so good. That's really good. I'll let you kick off that one because that's so true.
Yeah, so every moment kind of goes back to whatever it is, and I know we've talked about this in other episodes too, that we like to say, what am I supposed to be learning? So that's part of it. You can continue to ask yourself, well, we have, speaking of the law of attraction, I think was it Charles that brought that up, or Scott?
Charles.
So yeah, with the law of attraction, we have law of attraction journals that we actually use, and every month it asks us to look back at what we've accomplished or you know, what we learned, the lessons learned. So if you can do it in that way that is
productive, helps to propel you forward. So it's not meant to hold you back. It's just meant to use those things as opportunities to propel you failing forward.
It is. Well, but also succeeding forward. Because we've had a heck of a successful month that we could have easily been like, whew, all right, we've done it. That was good. And we're like, oh, heck no. What did we do that worked? What can we keep doing? So for us, you know, we've spent a year planting seeds and watering them and tending to them and keeping the weeds away. And now we've got
seedlings. We have seedlings.
Yeah, and we're able to like get a little bit of fruit off. But we're like, but you can't, if you just let it go, it's going to stop producing fruit. So I think in even teachable moments, whether it is failure or success, use success as your guidepost as to what did I do right that I can keep doing.
Yes, and that's very important. I know you guys hear us every week talk about keep this journal and keep that journal and write this down and write that down. And when I first was introduced to the concept by Kat, I'm like, listen, I don't have no time to be right every 2 seconds and every 5 minutes. But what I realized,
all kinds of separate journals. Did you think you had to keep separate journals?
I did, but I do.
Oh, okay.
But I started out having separate journals for separate things. Now I just grab a journal and I write in it, so it really doesn't matter. All my stuff is all spread out. It's documented. It makes sense to me. It'll never make sense to anybody else. But I have different places where I do write everything. But
sometimes
just getting it down.
I know. I do stuff in my phone. Sometimes it's a post-it note. So journaling doesn't. That's the other thing, is that's a whole letting go of perfection thing. It doesn't have to be, because I used to be like, I can't keep a gratitude journal because it's, you know, where do I take it upstairs and downstairs and you know. No, just make it work for you.
Getting it down, getting it out, and doing what works best for you. Scott said the other Akron is in Colorado. I forgot about that.
There's like 6 of them.
Is it? I thought it was like 3.
No, I think there's like 6 or 7 of them.
He said, "Good show, ladies." Thank you, Scott. So number 3, when it comes to embracing the journey, you guys, we talk about it all the time. We can't talk about it enough. It's been the most helpful tool for me with understanding, and that's gratitude. Always moving in gratitude and acknowledging the greatness
and I think
stuff.
even embracing the journey is the gratitude in embracing the journey is, I'm grateful for this moment, exactly where I am right now, doing exactly what I'm doing. Even like for us, this is awesome because we're in Colorado. We're seeing another we're going to be around a bunch of women who are like-minded. Like, this is a really, really easy moment to find, excuse me, but a shit ton of gratitude in.
Right.
Really easy.
But the key is finding that gratitude when it's not, when you have to search.
And that's when you go, thank you for this teachable moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, thank you that I'm strong enough to deal with this. Thank you. You know, that's the gratitude. When you can. And it kept going. Okay.
No, it's fine.
So that's the company my brother works for.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So a couple people in my family work there. Anyway,
but like you were saying, those moments where you have to search for gratitude, and that's what you were saying. You were talking about finding gratitude, thanking God for the thank you for this teachable moment. That's what you said.
Yeah.
So it's like, thank you for this, please, and then asking, can you please ensure that I learn whatever it is that you intend me to learn from this. I'm very specific with my prayers. I'm very careful about what I pray about and how I pray about it. And that's a whole other story. I don't think enough of us are careful enough about it. And we're sitting here blaming God about things that is probably our fault. But don't get me started. I could go off on a tangent. But I'm very careful with what I pray and how I pray it. So making sure that if I don't feel like, if I feel like I'm too human to extract whatever piece of lesson or whatever, like, God, please give me that discernment, give me the knowledge to be able to accept whatever it is you're trying to tell me in this moment,
right.
Even if it might be something that I don't want to hear.
Oh yeah, sometimes the teachable moment is, hey, guess what?
Don't do that.
You're the one in your own way.
Yes, and I will go so far as to say, for me, oftentimes those are what my teachable moments look like now.
Did you see that? Semicolon.
Who had it?
On that car.
Really?
Yeah, it was somebody's initials and then the semicolon.
Oh,
so for those of you that don't know, the semicolon project was started by a woman. I don't remember her name now, but she started it as a way to say my story isn't over yet.
Right.
And we'll have to do a story on what happened at the airport. That was incredible.
That was incredible.
That had to do with our tattoos. But anyway, somebody just went by on a car with that, and it's a suicide awareness movement. And yeah, so look it up. But anyway, that was kind of neat to see that.
I missed it.
Okay, I'm gonna do a little side note then. A little confirmation. High wind advisory. I'm gonna do a little. So the intuition thing, I'm gonna add another bonus step to that.
Okay.
To me, when I see signs like that, and yes, I've had somebody say you can find signs in anything. You can, but if you're looking and you're being intentional and you're praying and meditating and doing all those things that we talked about with intuition, you will get signs that help you along the way go, okay, I'm right. Like, I saw a thing that said Manitou when we were getting ready to meet to go for our walk to train for the
Manitou incline.
And I saw a trailer that said Manitou on it. I'm like, okay, we are supposed to be doing this. Like,
it was so funny. I said, Manitou, isn't that an animal? She was like, I know a manatee is an animal. I don't know. I'm like, oh, okay.
So it's funny to know when Max was little. So Max was my ex-husband's son. And when he was really little, he's like, Dad, I've never seen a manatee. I want to see a manatee so bad. No, I'm telling him wrong. Dang it, I ruined it. He said he wanted to see a matinee
want to get some more in the mountains if I can stop being scared long enough to snap the pictures. I'll get it together. By the time we leave, I should be more comfortable. And we will keep you posted on how we do at the Manitou Incline. I'm so excited about that. All right, so thanks for tuning in. We love you guys. Long episode today. Next week we'll be back to our normal, right?
Can we? Yeah, we kind of know what we're gonna do. Should we talk about that?
Nope, I want to keep it a secret.
Oh, okay.
But we do know what our next series. I'm really excited about it. So yeah, we'll keep you posted. Just keep an eye out. And don't forget to share the drive. All right. Love you guys. Talk to you soon.